Welcome back to The Explainer. Today is June 29th, 2026, and wow, we are looking at a truly historic day. We're witnessing this crazy moment where the fundamental rules of government, the outer boundaries of frontier technology, and the extreme realities of our physical climate are all shifting simultaneously. As we go through today's Explainer, I really want you to pay close attention to how these massive, seemingly separate events are all coming together to redefine the landscape of our daily lives. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with some major Supreme Court rulings, then move into tech and AI developments, cover extreme weather, touch on global news and sports, and finally, we'll look up to space and the sky. So, Section 1, Supreme Court Major Rulings. Let's look at the foundational legal shifts that came down today. Right off the bat, a 91-year-old precedent has just been overturned. For nearly a century, a ruling known as Humphrey's executor protected the heads of independent regulatory agencies from being fired by the president without cause. Well, with today's 6-3 ruling, the court determined the president now holds the constitutional authority to remove the heads of these independent agencies at will. This means the president has direct leverage over agencies like the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, which regulates the businesses you and I buy from every day. It's a massive structural realignment of executive branch power. This next ruling, it directly impacts your digital footprint. In another 6-3 decision, the Supreme Court basically extended the Fourth Amendment to restrict what are known as geofence warrants. Law enforcement can no longer query broad commercial geographic location databases just to sweep up the location data of everyone in a certain area. The court ruled this actually constitutes a search. So moving forward, police need to obtain individualized, highly specific warrants before accessing that commercial location data. We also have a rapid-fire series of updates to run through. First, the court upheld state laws allowing mail-in ballots to be counted if they arrive after Election Day, as long as they're postmarked on time. They also narrowly protected the operational independence of the Federal Reserve with a 5-4 stay, which keeps Governor Lisa Cook in office. Meanwhile, over in Washington, prior judicial restraints on unilateral presidential tariffs are actively shaping trade strategies right ahead of the midterms. Oh, and Congress is looking at expanding private passenger screening programs before you take your summer flights. Moving on to Section 2, Tech and AI Developments. Let's see how the future economy is being built and regulated today. Nearly $1 trillion. I mean, that is a staggering new enterprise valuation for Anthropic following a $65 billion Series H funding round led by Altimeter, Sequoia, and Dragoneer. This monumental influx of capital pushes Anthropic's estimated annualized revenue run rate to $47 billion. But honestly, this isn't just about startup funding anymore. It's a full-on arms race that completely alters the competitive landscape for the foundational AI tools we're all going to be using very soon. And this brilliantly illustrates a massive hidden cost right now. The literal price of running these massive models, I'm talking the compute and token costs, is just getting too expensive. Escalating operations costs are literally forcing an enterprise compute migration. We're seeing early-stage platforms like the automated assistant Lindy migrating their core workloads away from those big proprietary Western models. Instead, they're moving toward highly efficient alternative architectures like DeepSeek just to keep the lights on and maintain their operational margins. But here's the catch. Are we hitting a regulatory speed limit? The technology for the next generation of AI is ready, but the rollout of these frontier models has basically flattened. Both Anthropic's Fable 5 and OpenAI's GPT 5.6 variants are stuck in really narrow developer previews. They're encountering identical compliance review cycles as government evaluation teams step in to formalize risk metrics and safety audits. So the innovation is absolutely there, but the regulatory gatekeeping has officially arrived. All right, shifting gears to Section 3, Extreme Weather and Disasters. The visceral, physical realities testing our planet right now. 115 degrees Fahrenheit, that isn't just uncomfortable. It is a structural stress test for over 220 million Americans currently caught in a historic summer heat dome engulfing the eastern 2/3 of the country. And further south, the National Weather Service has issued extended high heat advisories across Texas. They're warning of sustained heat indexes climbing between 100 and 105 degrees all week, driven by these stable, dry air masses. And naturally, this heat is fueling a grim environmental crisis. We're talking nearly 3 million domestic acres already burned in 2026. That drastically outpaces the 10-year seasonal baseline. Driven by an unseasonal cold front and strong winds, the West is facing severe wildfire threats. Tragically, this includes Utah's Cottonwood Fire, which remains at zero containment today following the devastating loss of 2 wildland firefighters. Looking internationally, the disaster response is equally dire. Down in Caracas, Venezuela, official reports now confirm nearly 1,500 casualties following those major twin earthquakes. Rescue operations are severely impeded right now. 5 days after the quakes hit, continuous seismic aftershocks and extensive urban infrastructure damage are making it incredibly difficult for rescue workers to navigate the capital and safely reach survivors. Section 4. Global News and Sports. Let's ease out of the heavy news for a second and look at international diplomacy and athletics. Over in the Middle East, a massive $6 billion catalyst has actually brought people to the table. Following the release of those previously restricted institutional assets, special envoys from the U.S. and Iran are currently in Doha, Qatar, for Outer Channel technical talks. The primary goal here is to establish structured diplomatic frameworks for regional ceasefires. Now, on the sports stage, the international knockout brackets are delivering absolute drama. No way around it. Brazil secured a thrilling 2-1 victory over Japan to advance to the round of 16, and they pulled it off with an incredible header in the 94th minute of stoppage time. Meanwhile, up in Boston at Gillette Stadium, Paraguay has maintained a 1-0 first-half advantage over Germany. They managed to capitalize on an early execution error, even though the German midfield has been controlling heavy territorial possession. Finally, we arrive at Section 5, looking up, space and sky, completely away from terrestrial matters. Way up on the International Space Station, astronauts are gearing up for a highly complex extravehicular activity. Scheduled for Tuesday, they're going to initiate an orbital spacewalk to swap out a critical wrist joint mechanism on the robotic Canadarm2 assembly. This arm is an absolute lifeline for station operations. And throughout the spacewalk, every single movement will be tracked by live engineering feeds, managing the telemetry to ensure the component replacement goes flawlessly. And hey, for those of us keeping our feet firmly on the ground, definitely step outside tonight. The summer strawberry moon, which is the first full moon of the seasonal cycle, will reach its maximum illumination this evening. If you've got clear skies in the northern hemisphere, you're in for a spectacular view of this global peak. So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a pretty massive question to ponder. How will the intersection of these new foundational laws, constrained frontier AI, and a drastically changing climate redefine the rest of our year? Today's chefs are just the beginning of a compounding effect. And remember, the judicial term isn't even over yet. We are keeping a close eye out for tomorrow's final Supreme Court decisions regarding citizenship laws and campaign financing frameworks. The rules of the game are literally changing all around us. Keep pondering that, and I'll see you in the next explainer.